Wednesday, May 10th, and this is Geeknights. Tonight we talk about Free Comic Book Day. Let's do this.
Apparently, talking about all of E3 in one episode was more than Rim could handle.
Yeah, we also had technical limitations.
Not really.
Libsyn doesn't like you uploading more than 50 megabyte files.
It wouldn't have been 50 megabyte.
It was 45 as it was.
All right. Anyway, the point is that tomorrow we're going to complete our Wii coverage by our E3 coverage by talking about the Wii and the Xbox and the other stuff Microsoft had to say.
Yeah, pretty much just the rest of Nintendo and Microsoft.
And I guess that's a good thing, actually, because a lot of stuff happened with the Wii and Microsoft today. Information that was available on the show floor that was not available at the press conferences. But Sony, not so much new news from the show floor.
The best news that came out since Sony did their thing is that someone said that the controller they demoed wasn't as shitty as other people had said it was.
Well, because people said it was shitty based on what they saw at the press conference, but upon actual use, the accelerometers in the PlayStation 3 controller actually work pretty well.
I still think it's a terrible idea, but that's beside the point. At least it's a terrible idea that's well executed.
Yep, but that's the only news from Sony, so we don't have to go back and update that. But we are going to complete the E3 coverage tomorrow. Today, we're going to talk about all the comics we got on Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah. They were mostly terrible, but we'll get to that.
We will. That's the main bit. Let's
Whee! All right, let's get some newses out of the way.
Some newses. Well, all those anime people will be disappointed, but I do have some anime news. So if you came to listen about anime and are disappointed because there's comic books, here's your 1 minute of interesting information. Osamu Tezuka is the god of manga. You know, the Astro Boy guy who writes all the best manga ever. Of course he's dead, but...
Well, he didn't write Death Note.
No, he didn't write Death Note. Unless he came back from the dead as a zombie, and he's actually the secret writer of Death Note.
You know, I would put that as a non-zero probability, except for the fact that Misa Misa exists.
Yeah, he definitely would not write a Misa Misa.
Oh, he would, but she would be different.
Yeah. Anyway, apparently... there were 5 of his manga, not like full manga, but just, comic works. They weren't very long, that were recently discovered. As in they were lost, but no one realized they were missing. But now they're like, oh, here are some. What happened was there was a U.S. censorship unit from World War II. And that censorship unit had gathered some Osamu Tezuka mangas. And... apparently every other copy of these mangas in the world was destroyed, if there were any other copies at all. And someone who was looking through the Gordon W. Prang collection at the University of Maryland found some Osamu Tezuka works and was like, ho 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 ho, newly discovered manga, super awesome. And it is super awesome.
Are there scans of it available, or is it going to be published?
I don't know. I think right now your best bet would be to go to the University of Maryland and go to the collection and check them out.
You know, that's not that far away.
No, it's not really that. We can stop by there on our way to Otakon. Maybe we'll call them ahead of time or something. It's in Baltimore or near. It's north of Baltimore. It's like barely north of Baltimore.
Doesn't matter. If I drove all that way to Baltimore, I'm not gonna be against driving another 20 minutes.
Yeah, let's see. There was a 6-frame strip called Tamishi Girl, in which a subordinate uses his wits to fend off his lord's violence.
Way to spoil it.
There was a 4-frame strip titled Yari Kirimasen, which it translates to I Can't Take It. Features a mannequin that gets embarrassed when someone peeks up the skirt. A 16-page manga called Hanstukin no Kaminoke, and it doesn't say anything about that, other than that translates to Hans and golden hair. Yeah, I don't know what the other ones are. I linked to the article. You can read it yourself. But that's way cool.
Uh-huh. I have a decidedly non-anime news.
Oh.
It's a little old, too, but there wasn't any interesting news other than E3 news today, and I really want to save all of that, like the revelation that Pit is going to be in Smash Brothers. Oh, my God. I've been waiting for that forever, but... All right. So someone made a fan video to Battlefield 2. Now, this is a common thing. People make all these sorts of music videos or stories to various games. I remember seeing a particularly creepy one to Cat Girls from Final Fantasy XI.
God.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's a cool thing.
It's the things you see on YouTube every day.
Yeah, I mean, people make them all the time, and they're not anything new. The internet knows about them. They're a done deal. Someone made one.
You know about them.
Yeah.
They've been things of the day often.
Someone made one, and it was somewhat anti-U.S.
That's fine.
Now, the United States government and our wonderful intelligence agencies got a hold of this and thought, hey, it looks like the terrorists and Al-Qaeda and whatnot are making propaganda videos and distributing them to American youths via video games and the internet. And to anyone on the internet who has half a clue, it's obvious that, no, some guy just made this video because he wanted to.
Some Battlefield 2 playing dude made a funny video using footage from Battlefield 2.
In fact, his name is Sonic Jihad.
That's a good screen name right there.
Now, it amazes me that our government spends so much money on intelligence. And despite this, they need to spend all this time and money tracking down propaganda that was actually just something some kid made in his spare time for fun, that was obvious to everyone in the world except them.
I'm telling you, this is what it is. These people are so out of touch. That's why they have a crazy spy network, because we know everything. There's nothing we don't know. We don't have to do anything to know it. But they are so out of touch that they can't know what we know because they don't know how to freaking use a computer, and they know nothing about computers.
I'll know that there are things we don't know.
Not much. So
okay.
So,
all right, Scott. What sites exactly do, say, the AIDS virus bind to when they're trying to replicate?
I can go look that up on the internet.
All right. Why do we get cancer?
I can go look that up on the internet too.
We don't know. No one knows.
I can go look up some good answers.
Yeah, but you don't know.
I'll give you the same answer some bio teacher gives. I'll email him and get his answer.
Yeah, the answer will be mostly, we don't know.
That's fine. That's the answer I'll get from the internet then. The point is that's why these people need a spy network. For what's normal for us, they need a spy network for. That's how incompetent they are.
Well, it's like the gaming industry. I mean, the N-Gage. When it was announced, by and large, the internet said, that's going to fail. I'm 100% sure that product is going to fail. It is obvious to me, and I will not even consider it further.
Side talking.
Then Nokia seemed to be completely unaware of this and went forward all the way, and then it failed, and they couldn't imagine why, and they lost millions.
I got 4 words that are going to end this discussion right now that shows people being clueless about how the internet works.
Oh?
Snakes on a plane.
See, at first I thought Snakes on a Plane was going to be like maybe it was a clever marketing scheme, but I really think they were clueless, and they don't know why it's popular.
They're really clueless.
It amazes me that people in power can be so clueless and yet still be in power. Why don't they hire me to tell them what's up?
Yeah, you could replace the entire NSA just all on your own.
No, I'd need at least 5 or 6 guys to sit in various cities and tell me if anything weird's going on.
Well, they already have those guys.
Yeah, but they pay those guys a lot more than they'd need to pay me.
Oh, well.
Plus, those guys don't know the internet like I do.
Well, no, they have this room at the NSA somewhere where all these people sit on computers just listening to terrorist chatter.
Yeah, they probably listen to me talking to Emily in Japan on Skype.
Yeah, ooh.
Though actually I did see that the government has demanded to be able to wiretap Skype.
Whatever.
Well, they can pretty easily.
Encryption go.
You can't encrypt on Skype.
Yeah, I'll use something else.
Yeah, I'm really waiting for someone to make a really ubiquitous, good, easy to use, in PGP encrypted voice talk thing.
We'll make it.
Someone made it a long time ago. It's called PGP phone. It's just slow, old, and hard to find.
Yep.
It also doesn't work so well.
Well, we'll just add some PGP to Gizmo or something, and we'll be all set.
All right, that was quick, which is good, because my thing of the day has been trying to jump out of my mouth for the past 10 minutes.
Wow, that's a crazy thing of the day.
Now, anyone who follows my Delicious probably already saw it, and it may be linked to from various places, because it's quite hilarious. But I
really didn't expect what it was when I first saw it, and then I was like, whoa!
It's a video that some roommates took, where they snuck into a guy's bedroom, and caught him masturbating
Oh, that's no big deal.
to World of Warcraft.
Whoa!
Some dancer girl is dancing on the screen, and he's typing something furiously while he's doing something else furiously. And the camera guy slips in real quiet. And ahead of time, like you see on the camera, like people like, he's in there, he's doing it right now. Oh my god! Shh. And then they slip in, and you can tell the guy with the camera is just like on the verge of exploding. Oh my god, he's masturbating to World of Warcraft! Oh my god! And then the guy is masturbating, and he turns around because he hears the guy walk in.
Well, no, first the camera guy zooms in on the screen, and you see this dancing girl.
Yeah, you got to see the dancing girl.
Yeah.
And then the guy turns around, and just the look on his face, followed by the, what the fuck? What the fuck? Get the fuck out! And then the camera guy just starts laughing, and it's hilarious.
There's really not much more to say. Don't worry, you don't see any penises or anything. But it's completely safe for work, actually.
One, if any of you out there have ever masturbated to World of Warcraft, because I wouldn't be surprised if this was a not entirely uncommon phenomenon.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all.
Oh my god.
Yeah, something's fucking wrong with you if you're masturbating to World of Warcraft. That could be who knows what on the other end.
Now, to his credit, there's a slight chance that he has a wonderful girlfriend or boyfriend somewhere, and they were merely engaging in some cyberplay in World of Warcraft.
It's gotta be a girlfriend if he's looking at a dancing girl.
You never know. You never know.
He's gay, and he wants his gay partner to
the
use a dancing girl.
The dancing girl could have just been there. It could have been all in the text.
It could have been.
However, I'll note that when you see the guy's reaction and you see what the guy looks like, one, he looks like the kind of guy you'd catch doing this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We've known people like that.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I don't think he has a girlfriend or a boyfriend.
I don't think so either.
So if you needed any other reason to not play World of Warcraft, this video is it.
I don't know what it... Because people like that are playing it with you. Do you really want to play with them? Or you might be thought of as one of those people. In fact, I probably think of you as one of those people. So that's if you care what I think about you, which you shouldn't.
Yeah,
because you shouldn't care what anyone thinks about you.
Well, you really shouldn't care what Scott thinks about you because he probably hates you.
I hate it. No,
I
don't really hate people. I just think they suck.
Yeah, you're not like Dave who hates people.
Yeah, I just think people suck.
Yeah, we got this friend Dave who hates everyone, but he's real straightforward about it.
Yeah,
he'll walk up to you
like I hate you.
Yeah, like, hey Rim, I hate you.
Yeah, I won't.
Yeah, whatever.
See,
Dave.
the thing is, people think I hate them, but really, I just think they suck.
That's not much better.
It's a whole lot better.
Not so much.
Yeah, it's plenty better.
So, can you top an ugly dude masturbating to World of Warcraft?
I can come close.
Masturbating, sexually pleasuring himself in a furious way. I mean, he is going at it furiously.
I can get some furious dancing.
Yeah, Scott's thing's pretty badass. I watched it just now.
So this guy, who's apparently a stand-up comedian, I'm not sure what his name is. He's obviously pretty good at stand-up comedy, and
he's good at dancing too.
Real good at dancing. I mean, he's not like a professional Broadway perfect dancer, but he can dance better. You know, he can go to a club and dance, and you wouldn't be like, "Oh, that guy can't dance." You'd be like, "Oh, he can dance."
No, and aside, most people who can dance don't know they can.
Yeah.
I was at a dance or hanging out at Katsucon with our friend Bruce, and we're dancing, with all these people around, and he turns to me and he's like, "Hey Rim, do I look okay? Am I like dancing okay?" And I look, and he was dancing fine, but he actually was dancing pretty well, but he was so worried that he looked stupid.
Yep. I don't know why people worry about looking stupid dancing. You just let it flow with the music.
God, I should find some of
those...
those...
stupid, as long as it feels good, everyone else gets the double deuce.
I should find some of those pictures of some of the dance parties we used to have at RIT. Because you feel all cool, in the dark room. And
but you look
dancing.
like a dumbass.
Especially when someone takes a picture with the flash.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, outside of the darkness, that guy with the glow sticks, not so much.
That's the thing about dancing, is that any still frame of the dance looks completely stupid, but the video is all right.
Yeah.
Dance is all about motion. Anyway, it's a video, this stand-up comedian dancing, and what he does dances through history. He starts with Elvis in the 50s, and then he moves to the twist, and he gets into some disco action, and he does a whole bunch of, hit songs throughout from the 50s to today, and he does the dances to them. I think the best ones, Let's see.
To me, the Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson was good. The MC Hammer was real good.
Yeah, he did that thing.
The thing that Hammer does. Yeah. The Roboto followed by the breakdancing was good.
Man, I can't do the robot at all.
I can kind of do the robot, but I can't do the breakdance worm thing that he did.
I know a guy, he works at IBM, who got drunk and tried to do that and almost broke his nose.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Basically, he stood there. He's like, hey, I'm going to do the worm. Whump.
Well, he did do the get knocked down. And some of the dances he does aren't really dances. They're just stupid jokes.
Yeah, he makes fun of the Macarena.
Yeah, like when because I knew as soon as this started and I realized what it was, I was like, is he going to do the Macarena? And then it came to the Macarena and he just gave the finger to the audience.
Here's a tidbit. When I was in middle school, right? This was a long fuck time ago. God, I feel old. And we'd do Science Olympiad. And that's a really nerdly activity. And then we'd have the big, regional tournament. And it was a huge region in our state where we did this. So there would be like 500 or 600 kids, and they'd put us in a big gym, and they'd have a dance before the award ceremony. And it was all nerds who can't dance at all. So it was mostly kids milling around talking about computers while music played.
I noticed. Wait, the guy left out the electric slide. I was disappointed.
I didn't even notice.
The electric slide.
But I remember they started trying to get everyone together. They teach us dances like, this is the hustle, this is, whatever. And then they decided to teach everyone the Spanish hustle, they called it. And it was the Macarena before it was popular. And they just had this song, and we learned this thing, and it was kind of stupid. And then years later, this Macarena thing appeared, and I was like, that's just the Spanish hustle. Though I've never heard anyone call it the Spanish hustle anywhere except that stupid nerdly Science Olympiad dance when I was a little kid. Yeah, so I've done that dance.
It's electric. Yeah, back when, me and all my relatives and friends were being all the bar mitzvahed because we're all Jews, the Macarena was big in those days, so we were doing Macarenas.
Why is it always so dry here?
Yeah.
I got these polyps in the back of my hand. Sorry, we just watched a bunch of South Park.
With Jew jokes. Yeah, Jews.
Anyway.
It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie.
All right. So today...
I'm going to download that MP3.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I might have it.
Ooh.
We'll have to look after we do the show.
We will.
But
okay.
Before that, we have to talk about Free Comic Book Day.
All right. Let's list all the comics that we got on Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah, I'll note we're doing this partly because we haven't talked about comics in a while.
That's mostly because I can talk about a whole lot of comics that I've bought, and Rim doesn't buy or read so many.
Yeah, because I thought I'd be commuting on the train. Doesn't look like I will be. So I'm still reading my manga and my, books.
Yeah.
Plus,
I'm reading my comic books and then my books.
Yeah, well, I got a lot of good books. I just finished Idoru, which was actually awesome.
Yep.
We should talk about sci-fi books someday.
All right. So, we should probably talk them all about separately.
Yes.
One book at a time. Okay.
Yes.
The first comic that we got for free was from Dark Horse. It's half Star Wars, half Conan.
Yeah, well, we got all the, gold sponsor whatevers, except I think one.
Yeah, we got all... If you go to freecomicbookday.com and you click on the comics, you'll notice that there are... gold sponsors and silver sponsors. There are people who paid more to diamond distributors and people who paid less. Anyone who paid more, we got their book, except for Tokyo Pop. We didn't get Tokyo Pop.
Yeah, mostly because the comic shop we went to was kind of scary.
Yeah, but it's pretty good that they gave us a whole big fat thing. Usually they let you take 4.
Yeah, the thing is
two.
they looked kind of pissed when we walked in. We looked at every single piece of merchandise they had.
Didn't buy anything, took the free comics and left.
Yeah. And
whatever, it's Free Comic Book Day. Screw you.
Yeah.
You didn't pay for these comics. They just gave them to you.
Well, all they had was crappy comics.
Yep. All right, anyway, and the only thing, we got this top 100 trade paperbacks of all time, but I think it's kind of crummy, and it wasn't one of the gold sponsors, and we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, though it does list Watchmen as number 2.
Yep. All right, so the first comic is from Dark Horse. It's half Star Wars, half Conan.
Yep, then we got DC Justice League Unlimited.
Then there's something from Devil's Due Press, who's a really good publisher, but it's G.I. Joe Sigma 6, which isn't
God.
so good.
Donald Duck, which is kind of cool.
From Gemstone. Yeah, that's cool. A Simpsons comic from Bongo.
Yep.
A Future Shock thing from Image, which contains a whole bunch of different comics that are all somewhat related to future stuff.
Yeah, and I'll say right now they're all ass, but we'll get to that.
From IDW, there's 2 Transformers comics, one regular one and one Beast Wars one. And of course, the Transformers comic that I'm interested in, Transformers Evolutions, they only have like a little preview of it in here.
Yeah.
Marvel X-Men Runaways, which is the X-Men and the Runaways together. And there's some other stuff in here too, which we'll talk about.
And of course, Archie.
I've never read an Archie comic in my life.
Neither have I. This was the first one I ever read.
Yep. All right, so the Star Wars from Dark Horse.
It was pretty stereotypical, predictable. It was a lot like the Clone Wars cartoon.
I was going to say, it's almost exactly like the Clone Wars cartoons where, the stormtroopers, they don't say anything. They just, this quiet Star Wars action. No dialogue. Lots of shooting and blasters and explosions.
And it's really, I got to say, I mean, this stuff's all cool, but it's like it's just fan service for the Clone Wars. There's nothing to it. It's not Star Wars. It's just guys shooting robots.
Yeah, the thing about this is, I guess it's mildly, if you have 10 seconds where you're not entertained, you can spend your time reading this and it's a good filler. But since it's not animated, you really lose a lot because it's the exact same thing as the Clone Wars cartoon without the movement, but it's all action, so a lot is left up to the imagination, which is okay if you have a good imagination, but at the same time, there's nothing really to make you want to imagine.
It's drawn in this style, and I've seen other comics where they draw it like this, where it's like it's based on something that has real people, like it's based on something that has real actors in it. So they draw the characters who are from whatever they're basing it on really, really accurately, so you won't think like, wait a minute, that's not what Obi-Wan looks like. But as a result, they seem to draw them just kind of
I don't know, I think some of the drawings of like the stormtroopers and the equipment.
That's fine.
Yeah, they look pretty good, and that's most of the comic. So
yeah, but look at the last page.
So that's one panel as a crappy Obi-Wan face in it,
and then a crappy Jango Fett.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought of it because the Firefly comic did the same thing. Good comic, but they really drew it just kind of, whatever. As long as it looks like the characters, doesn't matter how we actually draw it.
All right. Let's talk about the Conan comic in the other half.
I actually kind of like the Conan.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but it was really generic, the story. But at the same time, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah,
the only thing that bothered me was, all right, if the wizard needed the spear, why the hell did he leave it downstairs all that time and go get it at the last minute? But other than that, it was fine.
I mean, Slayer's the anime handled that the best in the first season, where the evil guy has the thing he needs to finish his ritual, and what does he do? He immediately fucking runs away and does his thing as soon as he can.
Yep. This didn't have that.
Plus, it was kind of intellectually void. There's not much to Conan.
Well, there's not much to this Conan. But if
I can see a nice subtle. I mean, look, the guy who Conan killed was so self-important and sure that he was right and sure that nothing could stop him that was his downfall.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a little bit there, but
a little bit,
not much.
Yeah. All I can really say about this Conan is it wasn't painful to read.
It's really sad to say that about Free Comic Book Day, that the best we can say about something so far is it wasn't painful to read.
Yeah, the art was actually pretty good. It's this nice sort of D&D look.
Yeah,
which I don't mind. It looks like the Monster Manual art, only a little simpler.
Yeah, the new Monster Manual art, not the old
third
one.
edition types.
Yeah.
And if I saw a Conan book, I used to completely ignore Conan. What did I care? But now I guess if I see a Conan book in the comic shop, I might pick it up and flip through it to see if it's interesting or more of the same.
All right, Justice League. Now, when I read it, it went from, all right, this is actually kind of good, to this is complete shit over the course of 1 page worth of plot.
All right, so this is Justice League Unlimited. So it's not the real Justice League. It's based on the cartoon show that, it looks just like the cartoon show. So on the first page, you got, like, oh my God, crazy things are happening. But I don't even know who half the characters on this page are, first off. I mean, it puts their names at the bottom of the page, but I don't know.
Well, I
know what their powers
I know who
are.
Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, and the Flash were.
That's all I knew. I don't know who that white guy. It says here he's Captain Atom, and then it says Zatanna and Hawk Girl, which are pretty easy to figure out which one was which.
I had seen Hawk Girl before.
All right. But I didn't know what their powers were or anything. It didn't explain it to me. But
And oh god,
this looks like a kid's comic, so maybe do kids know? I don't know. A lot of kids don't read comics, and I guess if a kid watched the show, they would know.
it had the bolding.
The bolding of the words?
Not as bad as some other comics have had it. I consider the bolding to be a kind of cancer or a plague.
Well, I'm looking at some of the bolding on page 2, and
It's not so bad. That's why
looks like it makes a little bit of sense.
It makes more
but
sense.
on page 3, it makes a little bit less sense.
It makes more sense than the bolding in any comic I've ever read ever.
All right. But yeah, the plot starts out where you're kind of wondering exactly what's going on. Like, there's a nice setup and a little mystery. You know, it's like, all right, what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I hate superhero comics, and it was enough for me to really want to know how this was going to end.
Yep, and then at the end, it was just silly. The explanation was crap.
It was just Deus Ex Machina crap. Like, the whole thing is, we tested and we couldn't find the problem. And then suddenly the villains appear and say, here is our plan, an intricate text detail for everyone who couldn't figure it out. Oh, there's a mystic thing that you couldn't detect.
The thing that I really didn't like about it, the thing that made it subpar, was the fact that it didn't really matter. What you could have replaced, all these characters with just like a stick figure of a different color. Like, there was no personality to anyone. Everyone was just a hero with the same personality. Only Batman had a slightly different personality to him because he was the one who figured things out, because he's Batman. He figures things out.
He always figures it out. Batman's
the only
cool
difference
one.
between the characters, other than that, was their powers. They didn't have a different personality. They all had the same dialogue.
But other than the
whatnot.
Magic Girl, they didn't even use their powers. They were just kind of there.
Yeah, there were these generic, when you have a story, you have to be like, okay, he's the angry guy and he's the sad guy, and the different personalities and different characters. All the characters have the same personality. We're heroes and we're going to beat the bad guy. That was all they had to them. And yeah, except for Batman.
Yeah, the only thing I got out of this, and I got to say, if I get my scanner to work or if I find an image online, there's no page numbers, but there's a Scooby-Doo ad. And the page before the Scooby-Doo ad, if I replace the text bubbles with different words, I can make a very funny sexual joke.
Yeah, because it shows Superman standing in front of Hawk Girl.
And then
Wonder Woman appears and puts her hand on Hawk Girl's shoulder. Then Hawk Girl turns around and looks at Wonder Woman like, ooh. And then both Superman and Wonder Woman put their hands on Hawk Girl's shoulders.
And in the fourth panel, Batman gets this smirk.
I don't see him there.
He's got this little smirk, his smile.
He's not even in the panel.
Yeah, he is.
Where? I don't see him.
Superman?
Oh, you said Batman.
I did? Oh, I meant Superman.
Okay.
Superman gets this little smirk.
Yep.
No, yeah, Batman's there.
Dude, in the last panel, it totally looks like Wonder Woman has her hand on Hawk Girl's boob.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's Justice League.
That's what I got out of that.
All right. G.I. Joe Sigma 6.
Is crap.
Actually, this one had an advantage over the other comics in that the entire comic book was pretty much one story with very few ads. That's the advantage. The art looked like a TV show, a kid's cartoon. The plot went like a kid's cartoon. And I think this thing is just here to sell toys.
Yeah, the worst thing is it fell in that stupid trap of, all right, we're going to make all the bad guys robots. That way we can kill them in cool ways, but we don't get in trouble for killing people in a kid's thing.
I didn't even know. That didn't bother me. The things that bothered me were A, the sharks.
Yeah.
B, this one guy, his name isn't G.I. Joe, and he makes jokes about these little paper umbrellas like 3 times, which aren't funny. The bad guy, there's only one Cobra bad guy.
Yeah, Destro.
Yeah, and he's totally lame. Like until the last page, he wasn't super lame, but at the end, he has like this funny face, and he's like, "I need a vacation." That's not something a villain says. What the hell?
Well, plus he has like a PSP to control the robot shark things, and it has a silly graphic.
G.I. Joe has this wicked awesome Sigma suit, and Destro has a PSP to control some sharks.
It just wasn't good.
No, I guess this is just for kids who like the modern G.I. Joe toy-selling TV show.
I didn't even like the old G.I. Joe. The only G.I. Joe that's good is the movie.
The G.I. Joe that I like is the one that has a million G.I. Joe guys, like Sergeant Slaughter mostly. And Cobra has a million guys, like the guy with the gold head and Cobra Commander and whatnot.
Don't forget the freaking movie.
Yeah.
We should
and
watch that
There's
and
a
review
million blue lasers and a million green lasers shooting back and forth, but no one actually gets hit and dies.
Yeah, I never liked
Just
it when
things
they,
explode.
I never liked it when they had the ones where it's like, here, these 3 G.I. Joes are going to go on a crazy mission together.
All right, now getting to probably one of the best comics in the lot, Donald Duck.
It's real old school and real clever.
Yeah, it has 3 different Donald Duck stories in it. They're mostly Huey, Dewey, and Louie stories, which is even better than Donald Duck stories.
Yep. Now, they're really, really old school. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, the first one is Huey, Dewey, and Louie skip school, and crazy stuff happens, and they almost get caught by Donald like 10 times. And it goes like a Looney Tune or an old Donald Duck cartoon.
The only weird thing about it is that the writing, it's very, I guess, good in terms of the fact that they talk like normal human beings, which doesn't seem to happen in most comics.
Yeah, I think the duck voices are they don't even have to put the duck voice in the writing. Like, you have it in your head because you see who's talking.
It's old school, again, is the only way I can describe this.
The art looks just like a DuckTales cartoon, you know? Even though I think the Donald's little sailor suit is the old school one, not the new school one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just generally typical and humorous, and I mean, I laughed, and I'm not a little kid.
I enjoyed it. I like the cartoons more, I guess. But
Yeah.
I grew up...
The thing is, this isn't the best Donald Duck ever.
No.
But it's still pretty good. It's at least compared to this other stuff we got in this pile.
Yeah. Though I got this hankering suddenly to watch all the
really
old
like-
Donald Ducks.
Yeah, I really like the last story with the caveman who was like Uncle Scrooge.
Yeah.
That was good. Especially when it's like, oh, look, they made it funny about Uncle Scrooge.
All right. Bongo, The Simpsons.
Yeah, I don't know why they called it. I guess the publisher is Bongo, but they said Bongo Comics Free for All.
Now, I have somewhere, like, all the original Simpsons comics from when the first one was released.
Mm-hmm.
And they've pretty much, as far as I can tell, never changed in quality at all. They're the exact same level of humor and quality now that they were way back.
If you really, really, really like The Simpsons, then...
Yeah, all this taught us is that The Simpsons... I mean, the writing, if you close your eyes, you read this comic, and then you pretend you can't see it, and you imagine it being acted out in your head, it's kind of funny. It's like current Simpsons season funny.
Yeah, I mean, the first story is obviously with Comic Book Guy, and he becomes a strong dude, and instead of a weak-ass, lame comic book guy. And, you know, Nelson beats someone up and says, ha-ha, and...
But
there's
without
some comic book jokes.
Without the animation and the comedic timing and the voices, it's not that funny. It's just kind of lame.
Yeah, a lot of the jokes are timing related. Although I did laugh when I saw the Springfield Tire Yard on fire next to the Opera House. That was good.
The only part I really laughed was when they have early on when they have that long bit that basically just makes fun of comic nerds.
Well, that's what Comic Book Guy does. And if you're giving out a free comic book on Comic Book Day, the way to appeal to the people reading it is to make comic jokes that they'll laugh at more. It's like Penny Arcade. You give it to video game people and they laugh. So you make a comic joke and you give it to comic people and they laugh. And that way, maybe they'll buy Simpsons comics.
I guess this just reminded me a lot of like the old Beavis and Butthead comic and just those generally not great comics that are based on TV or cartoons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the middle, there was a bit with Bender that was kind of funny because I like Bender a lot.
If it hadn't been Bender, it wouldn't have been funny.
It seemed like a forced Bender. That was the problem. It wasn't the true Benderness.
You can't force Bender.
Yeah, it's like they drew Bender and they forced Benderness out of him to make him, you know, and it wasn't natural. And then, let's see, the last story was about... Homer was a superhero named Pie Man.
No, the last one was with Nuclear Power Man and Iron Foot.
Well, there's Homer being the Pie Man, which I guess
it
wasn't really funny.
Not at all.
It was just a Simpsons story with no humor whatsoever.
The last story was even less funny.
Well, the last story, I think, I liked how Disco Stew is the bad guy.
Yeah, that's all it's got going.
And they made a Village People joke. And that was that.
All right, whatever. Future Shock.
I wouldn't buy Simpsons comics if I were you.
No.
Okay,
we should go
Shock.
through each of the comics in Future Shock.
We should go through each of the comics, because one of them I think is better than the others.
All right. Fear Agent I have no idea what's going on.
I have no idea what the hell's going on either. Don't ask me.
It's really generically drawn. There's something about a giant brain and the future. They throw you into the middle of the story, and then
And
it
they
stops.
take you out before the end. It's like you get, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of where you get like this hint of what could possibly be going on. I don't know what this comic's about. It just, forget
The
it.
last line is, you are from the future, one in which you murder me.
Oh, that's right. This guy's like arguing with an evil brain alien, and the brain alien figures out that this guy is a time traveler, or no, it figures out that this guy is going to kill the brain in the future. Whatever. It's just a crazy plot, and you don't get enough of it to know whether you like it or not, but it's just crazy.
Now, Godland.
All right, before even knowing what the story is in Godland, look at this craziness. You had like these really weird creatures fighting.
Very superhero style fighting.
Yeah, but they're the weirdest creatures. Like, I don't know what the hell they are. Are they supposed to be gods? Is that the story? Why it's called Godland?
But then it turns into a completely different comic about this girl
Yeah.
who's in a spaceship that is hurtling out of control or something. And then it does I don't want to use the pretentious word. I hate that word to describe things like this, but it goes into one of those comic book crap fests where they have a lot of descriptive text that's supposed to sound literate and meaningful and cool. But it's just dumb.
But in her mind's eye, the unique awareness of her soul, she sees everything.
Yeah, the fucking bolding.
Okay.
The steel beast she rides,
Right.
constructed by the sweat-soaked hands of Earthmen, lurches once, arcs wide, and finally drops
And now,
into
the next
abyss
one,
of
yeah.
the unknown.
The next one is Invincible, which I think is, I guess, the better than the other things in here.
It looks like it's supposed to be silly.
Yeah, it looks sort of like a Hitchhiker's Guide, maybe.
Yeah, but it also has this hint of Dragon Ball.
It does have a hint of Dragon Ball, but I don't see any fighting in it
Yet. They
yet.
keep talking about, like, power levels.
Well, I think they're just saying, how strong this guy is because they made him super strong. I think it's a story about, aliens and people from different races and how there's one guy and he's named Invincible and maybe he's an alien or something. And he's really strong and he's a superhero. I don't know. But there's a Cyclops alien that's kind of silly.
Yeah, the guy takes his beard off, too.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
because I am a Viltrumite. And he takes his beard off.
Like, that's supposed to mean something to me.
Yeah. I guess it means something if you read the whole comic, but if you don't know what a Viltrumite is, and you don't know why taking your beard off, I don't know how they're supposed to make you want to read this comic with something like that.
All right, noble causes, I got nothing to say about. It's just so generic.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It's generic superheroes.
There's a guy, he's a superhero, there's a military, they're fighting, they call in the bad guys to stop the good superhero from doing bad. But really, in the end, the good superhero is really doing good, the government just thinks he's doing bad, and it's just obvious and cliche. Alright, Savage Dragon. This is like an old comic that a lot of people like. I've never read any of it before, and from these 4 pages, I'm probably never going to read any of it anymore anyway.
I'm not really sure what it's about.
It's about this green guy who's the Savage Dragon.
Apparently he has this girlfriend who doesn't trust him.
He seems like a lone Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
That's what he is. He's a Ninja Turtle solo.
Well, he's got that little thingy like Dr. Zoidberg does.
You mean a fin?
No, but they call it a thingy.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
In Futurama, at least.
Yeah. It seems like a comic about, a guy who's a green dragon creature, and he's kind of silly, and he has some plot behind him, and stuff happens to him, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway, Shadowhawk.
I don't know. I might have Shadowhawk #1. I'm not sure.
Wasn't the joke in Shadowhawk a similar joke to something that happened in Gravity?
Yeah, it's the exact joke that happened in Gravity, actually.
So what the hell?
Yeah, did this guy read Gravity and steal the joke? Basically, the novice superhero gets tricked into carjacking for someone else. It happened in the Gravity comic where it was funny. Because I'd seen it before, it wasn't funny. It's just a novice superhero who sucks. He looks pretty cool, I gotta say that, with his shiny helmet. If I was a superhero, I wouldn't mind that costume.
Yeah, but I don't know what to think of this.
it's such a generic, it's like a short skit. You can't really tell what Shadowhawk is about or anything based on this. All you can tell is it's a superhero comic about a novice superhero, and that's what he looks like. That's all you can tell. You don't really know what his powers are, except for maybe acrobatics, I guess.
Spawn.
Yeah, I never read a Spawn comic ever until now.
It's really just kind of boring and trite.
I don't know. It's like Spawn is there. He's a scary dude. Spawn, you know that? You know the Spawn's a scary dude?
But then they have this, this thing about Granny and this little kid, and, Spawn is an angel, and obviously some sort of metaphor symbolism that probably makes more sense if you know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I think all this 4 pages tells me is that Spawn is a scary, scary, scary dude, but really he's good. But he's really scary. But he's good. Not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't really enough to say anything about Spawn.
Nope, other than he's a scary dude who's actually good.
Now, the last one, Witchblade, never actually read any of it, but I know what it is. In fact, I made fun of it in the forum a little while ago because I've seen it, the covers of it, in all these comic shops, and I lump it in with Lady Death. It's a comic that on the cover there's a mostly naked woman with large breasts and tiny bits of something covering her naughty bits.
I knew nothing about Witchblade, but apparently the Witchblade is this weapon thing that kind of attaches to your body or something. And this girl had it, but then she lost it to this other girl, and that's that.
The cover of every one of them is just a mostly naked woman wearing this thing.
Yep. So, and not much really happens here other than you find out that there's a girl, and she had a thing called the Witchblade, which was a dangerous weapon, and now someone else has it. Dum dum dum. That's all you find out.
Yeah, there really wasn't anything worth reading in that whole thing.
We only spent a lot of time talking about this because it had freaking a whole bunch of 4-page stories in it.
All right, Transformers, we can talk a little bit about that. I mean, here we got what? Bumblebee.
All right, first of all, on the inside of the opening cover, there's a picture from Transformers Generations. That's what I want to read. That's real Transformers. Look at that. See that giant sound wave?
Yeah, but they put this text on it that isn't from it.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, read Transformers comics. Ongoing monthly series.
Hey, if the Transformers comics looks like that, I'm going to buy those ones. Transformers Generations. I got to remember, Generations.
Yeah, but so no, we don't get that.
We don't get Transformers Generations.
We get Infiltration.
We get Infiltration.
Which, it looks like it's in that style that like every new comic is in.
It looks like shiny Transformers to me. It's got this orange haze over a lot of it, but that's because they're in the yellow Transformer ship, I think.
It's hard to tell what's going on. There's a lot of talking.
It seems that the Autobots are having an argument over whether someone was supposed to do something, and it looks like it could be just any generic argument between military guys over you shouldn't have done that, you should have done this, you're not following the military rules, whatnot.
Yeah, like it has nothing to do with Transformers.
That's the thing that bothered me. If you're going to make a Transformers comic, you need to have transforming and flying and fighting Decepticons. This has none of those things. This could have been any military dudes. They just put Transformers in their place. They don't even transform. What the hell?
And then they give you a nice what the fuck at the end.
And then at the end, they're like, here are the Decepticons doing evil. Da-da-da!
Now, it just gets better because the other half of this is Beast Wars.
Great.
Beast Wars has the worst bolding I've ever seen. It's got a terminal case of bolding.
Really?
It bolds freaking every other word randomly. Here's a text bubble where every word in it is bold except one.
Between Optimus Primal's Maximals and Megatron's Predacons, more and more Predacon avatars arise to swell Megatron's ranks, their former legions forgotten.
There are
the
so
conflict
many
escalates.
There are so many made-up words and just crap in Beast Wars, and I can't.
Here's the worst one: his mission: isolate and contain the Renegade.
Oh, and don't forget the crap. We remain chronally displaced by 1 or 2 nanoclicks.
Yeah. I didn't like Beast Wars when I saw one episode of the TV show back in the day, and this makes me dislike Beast Wars even more. It's like, it seems the only reason they ever made Beast Wars is because some kids don't like cars and planes. They might like animals. So they made transforming animals so they can sell to those other kids. Yeah.
All right, so we got this X-Men Runaways.
Well, no, wait. In the middle of this comic, though, I want to...
Oh, there's something in there?
Oh, there are actually 2 other Transformers things in here.
I tossed this one away.
Oh, there's Transformers Stormbringer in the middle here, which actually looks like more of a real Transformers story. You got like a group of Autobots going to Cybertron, which has been long abandoned. So this seems like a continuation, like actually in the Transformers storyline, but far in the future from any Transformers that I've ever seen. And yes, what's his name? What's the guy's name? Sunfire, I think?
I don't know.
Jetfire? Or, Jetfire, the giant Valkyrie guy. He's there, which is a plus for Scott. And then...
You couldn't even remember his name.
Yeah. I know what he looks like. And then there are 2 pages of a preview of Transformers Evolutions, which I don't know how good a comic it's going to be, but it has steampunk-style Transformers, which that's worth buying 1 issue right there.
Yep. Basically, anything that has steampunk, air pirates, or pirates in it, we'll probably give it a chance.
You got Bumblebee, and it looks like he transformed. It looks like Transformers plus Kishin Core. That's exactly what this is in visual style.
Badass.
Visual styling. So I might get 1 issue of that. I got 1 issue of The Infiltration. I'm not sure. Maybe I have an issue of some Transformers by these guys. I don't know which one it is, but I obviously didn't buy any more.
All right, X-Men Runaways.
Well, I read Runaways, and I read X-Men when I was a kid, but not recently. But I read Runaways, at least the first 5 trade paperbacks, and Runaways is really, really good. You should read it.
Now, I hadn't read it. All I read was this. And from this, it looked like Runaways is crap.
Well, this is written by the same guy who wrote Runaways, but it's sort of like this 10-page short story meant to introduce you into, I don't know.
It didn't introduce me to anything. It introduced all these normal dudes who were actually mutants, and then the X-Men came, and then they fought. And
only one of them's a mutant.
But they all had powers or something.
Their powers, yeah, but only one of them's a mutant.
Whatever, they all had powers. There was nothing to it. They
actually, some of them don't have so many powers.
They still held the X-Men off.
Yeah, they did. They sure did.
And the one thing that bothered me is the way it was drawn. Wolverine, whenever you see him, his mouth is wide open with these big teeth and he's sniffing.
Oh, yeah, that totally bugs the hell out of me.
Like, there's 2 panels where there are 2 different panels on the same page where he has the exact same expression on his face, even though his body is in a different position.
Yeah. I don't know, and it's like, why does Kitty Pryde have a dragon, and why is she
all right, I was about to say, the only saving grace of this was that 1, Kitty Pryde is in it, because Kitty Pryde is awesome. And 2, Kitty Pryde has a freaking dragon, and that's awesome.
I don't know why she has a dragon.
I don't know, but I like the dragon. He's cute.
Yeah. I think this is just written because it's so short, the guy just kind of wrote it really quick, like, yeah, it's good enough.
It has a dinosaur in it.
The dinosaur is actually part of Runaways, and it's not that stupid.
All right. Yeah, they drew the beast a lot like a monkey.
Yeah, the beast looks sort of like a monkey.
Seriously, Runaways had better be damn good because
Runaways is damn good. This is nothing like Runaways.
So why is this called Runaways?
Because it has those characters.
Those characters are in Runaways? Tell me they're different.
Those are the Runaways.
Tell me they have different personalities or something.
Well, here they don't seem to have personalities. In Runaways, they do.
They just each one of them whips off a one-liner.
Yep, that's about it.
But once again, 2 pluses, Kitty Pryde, and Kitty Pryde has a dragon.
All right.
On her shoulder.
After it comes Franklin Richards, which actually is pretty good.
It was all right. I wasn't really...
I thought it was really funny.
I really didn't.
No?
No, it wasn't anything special or new or interesting. And
I thought it was funny and cute, like a little, little comic where you see the little kid and you imagine stuff, and then...
Yeah, I thought that. It just didn't make me chuckle at all.
No. It wasn't chuckle like, ha, that's hilarious, like good Simpsons.
I didn't even crack a smile. I just read it, and then I kept going.
No.
I don't know. I just didn't like it.
I think it's cute, especially since it's like, they draw a guy, and obviously it's Dr. Doom, but it's not. And it's like, haha, we're making fun of ourselves, haha.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh.
I don't read comics, so I don't know any of those people.
Oh, come on. You look on, like, the last page of it, and it's like, okay, there's the Hulk, and there's Captain America, and there's a guy who looks like Batman, and there's a generic girl.
Yeah, I don't know who
and
the girl
Dr. Doom
is
all tied up. Whatever. Did you read the Marvel Adventures Avengers?
Civil War?
No. Just go to that's an ad. Turn the page.
Yeah, I did that. That was... All right, for a second, because I don't know what's going on.
Civil War is an ad.
I was skimming this, And the first thing I thought on the second page, well, the third page of it is, why is Spider-Man a tiny little dude? Did he get transformed? And then I read the text. It's like, oh, that's a giant. Okay.
Yeah, Giant Girl.
I
I don't know about Giant Girl. Don't ask me. But, yeah, Marvel Adventures comics. Whenever you go to the comic store, if you go to the comic store, and you see something like Spider-Man Adventures or Captain America Adventures, those aren't, quote, real comics that are, in the real story that all the comics are in.
So they're not canon.
Yeah, they're like separate, story kids comics type things. And often they're actually a lot better than the real comics because they're just telling good stories or attempting to just tell good stories with the characters and not make some giant continuity-laden crap.
The only good thing about this is that Spider-Man and the Giant Girl talk about pirates, and Spider-Man has a pirate sword that he's made out of his webs that he's carrying.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Oh, my God.
That's the only thing I got out of this.
That's awesome.
It's right there. He's holding it. He's like, avast matey, no cannons, blah, blah, blah.
See, that's why I kind of like Spider-Man comics more than other superheroes, because while most of the comic is the same as any other superhero comic, Spider-Man is constantly making wisecracks and jokes and all that kind of shit. Deadpool is the same way. Deadpool, he just constantly saying asshole-ish things and whatnot.
No, actually, the Ultimate Spider-Man Saga thing was kind of interesting.
Oh, did you read it?
Yeah, I read it.
All it does is summarize everything that's happened in Ultimate Spider-Man so that if you decide you want to read Ultimate Spider-Man, you're now caught up, so you can buy the latest issue.
I don't know how good the comic is, but the summary made it sound kind of good, I guess.
Well, because the Ultimate Comics from Marvel, what they did is they said, all right, a lot of people don't know what the hell's going on in the real Marvel comics. We're going to create a whole separate, universe with its own separate continuity, and we're just going to call it the Ultimate Universe. And they started over, basically from scratch and just called everything Ultimate. And you'll notice, if you know the real original Spider-Man story, that this one is slightly different.
Yeah.
Like, in the original Spider-Man, this is more like what happened in the movie and less like what happened originally.
I do note that, once again, Kitty Pryde.
Yeah, really? Where? Oh, right.
Yeah.
That was kind of weird, because
I like Kitty Pryde. Let me go.
I'll let you go. But the thing is that the original Spider-Man story is Spider-Man goes out with Gwen Stacy. He fails to save her. She dies. Spider-Man goes out with Mary Jane. The end. This one seems to be like Spider-Man and Mary Jane. Then Gwen Stacy shows up later.
And then there's conflict, and then she gets axed. And then Spider-Man dumps Mary Jane.
And now he's with Kitty Pryde.
Yeah.
I guess that's what happens in the Ultimate Universe.
I'm fine with that.
Whatever. Yeah. The other thing is, in the real Marvel comics, Spider-Man's old now, so he has a chance to read Spider-Man when he's young again, I guess.
All right, last and least, Archie is the most bland comic I've ever seen.
Well, at least Archie wasn't painful, like the other comics. It was just so bland and plain.
And, unoffensive.
Yeah, that's a perfect word for it. It is the most... It's like Leave It to Beaver, the comic.
I don't know who could read this and actually be amused by it.
Yeah, I don't know who would pay money and be a fan of these and want to read them.
I'm pretty sure by reading what I just read, I've gotten every possible joke I could get out of Archie. Except there wasn't a joke about Jughead eating hamburgers. Oh, wait, yes, there was.
The thing that really bothered me about this is how,
they trick you out with bullshit?
What do you mean?
They have this, there's a big change. Archie's leaving town.
Oh, no.
And then at the end, they're like, never mind.
In the middle, Archie runs into Sabrina the Teenage Witch, but really it's just a 2-page ad for their Archie Comics. Archie Comics is a publisher, and they happen to print Archie Comics among other comics. So they also publish a Sabrina the Teenage Witch comic, which is drawn in a manga style. So in the middle of this Archie story, Archie runs into Sabrina the Teenage Witch and acts like she's his friend and is like, hey, and then it's an ad for the Sabrina comic. And then the next page is an ad for the Josie and the Pussycats comic. And then a few pages in, you've got an ad for some other comic. Betty and Veronica, which is a separate comic, I guess. It's like they just run through all their,
Yeah. And I gotta say, then there's the actual ad for Sabrina, Wow. Like, they must have hired someone and told him, try to rip off manga, but do it shittily.
I think they just the cat's cute.
Yeah, the cat is cute, but it's cute in a very, like, forced way.
Yeah, it's like they hired probably some like college or high school person who could draw manga, and they drew some Sabrina the Teenage Witch comics that look like manga. But that's not what sells manga. They're stupid. They still don't get it.
Yeah, you know what sells manga? Having stories like Death Note.
Yeah, that's what sells the manga.
I can't wait to hear what those comic geeks have to say about Death Note.
One of them is already like, woohoo!
Man, you gotta post in their forums, man. Now you gotta read Sanctuary.
Yeah, the problem is not everyone can get Sanctuary, so it's hard to get people to read it. It's much easier to say, hey, read something like Monster, or read, and Akira's too expensive, so it's hard to get people to read that, and Phoenix isn't easily available, even though it's in print, so it's hard to get people to read that.
Yep.
It's like all the great manga, because they print the shoujo manga like nothing, but all the really good manga they don't print so much of, so it's really hard to get more people to read it. The other thing is manga is starting to even out, where the really good manga is selling more and more titles, and the crap manga is selling less and less copies.
Yeah, we'll see how much Cantarella sells.
Yeah, so a manga, it's getting to the point where manga like FMA and Death Note and Fruits Basket are starting to sell way more copies than they used to.
Like bestseller list copies.
Yeah, but Tokyo Pop Random Shoujo is selling fewer copies, so it's becoming less worth it to do that. So now people are probably going to start getting more discriminative about what manga they license and publish. Trying to only sell, publish manga that are really good, not just any old crap because it's going to sell enough.
Yeah, I mean, I know Tokyo Pop does a lot of market research because they seem to see what is popular at conventions and go with that.
Yep. But Viz seems to be really pooning everyone. I mean, I looked at it for a while, and it was like in the original days, it was Viz. And then Tokyo Pop came and blew everyone away.
Well, it seems like whenever the Tokyo Pop people are doing something at a con, the only people who are reacting to what they're doing are the screechy fangirls.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if it's like this cycle where the people they talk to are fangirls, and then the research they get back from them is fangirl stuff, and then they make fangirl stuff, and it's a feedback loop.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe, why don't we ask him?
We could.
Yeah.
Oh, believe me, when Otakon comes, there'll be interviews.
Yeah, like Tokyo Pop should really, I mean, they need to go out and figure, I could tell them what the popular manga is they should bring over. What's the best anime right now?
Right now?
Is there an Ergo Proxy manga?
I have no idea.
They can get the Mushishi manga, that would freaking sell.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's been licensed or not. What other manga could they go grab that would sell big?
I really don't know. That's the problem. I can tell you anime.
Used to know.
I know anime left and right. I don't know manga anymore because all the manga that I thought, oh, that manga's awesome, I've got or read or I'm planning to read already.
Yeah.
Or I can't get it. Like the end of Death Note.
Yeah.
God.
It's coming out fast enough. The real problem with manga is that the American publisher eventually catches up with the Japanese publisher, and then you're stuck waiting forever to get the next volume. It's sort of annoying.
Yeah, unless you just wait and then read the American releases. Read just enough of the translations to know that you're gonna like it, and then just hold out for the real one.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is that with the real one, like Death Note, we're gonna get like in rapid succession the first I think there's 10.
Well, Death
tankobons now.
Death Note's not gonna go that much longer. So
yeah. But I mean, Excel Saga is a good example. They put out 1 billion volumes of Excel Saga, and now the people who bought all those volumes, Excel Saga's not done. They're going to have to wait months and months and months and months for the next volume.
Maybe they should, I don't know, stagger the releases a little more to keep a steady
because then
stream.
people say, hey, so much of this is out. Why don't you hurry up and give me what's already out,
But then if they put it all out, people say, hey, there hasn't been one for X months, and now we're pissed.
Yep.
You can't win with these people.
No, you can't. What you need to do is you need to just take Shonen Jump and all those other magazines and just directly translate them, maybe with a week delay or a 2-week delay, maybe even a month delay. and just bring them over here direct. Replace the ads.
Yeah, I just wonder how much of a mass market there is currently.
The trick with that is you have to put it on magazine racks everywhere. You can't do this wussy thing where you barely publish it. You need to get a pile of money. And
you've said this on the show a bunch of times.
Have I?
And we've gone long, so we'll do a whole episode on that.
All right, you advertise the fuck out of it.
So
and
you keep
send
saying
it everywhere. Yeah,
because we've already gone long.
have we?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and in the end, Free Comic Book Day was kind of a bust.
At least they're free.
Yeah, they're free.
It's pretty
but
good for free.
If the goal of Free Comic Book Day is to get new people to read comics, I think they failed.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Simpsons comic targeting comic people. Hello, if you want to get new people to read comics, first of all, give the free comics out somewhere besides a comic book store.
Yeah, the only people who go to a comic book store are people who buy comics anyway.
The only people who know about Free Comic Book Day are people who buy comics anyway.
I don't think any of the people in the city of Newburgh even know that comic book store is there except comic book nerds. They probably just see that door and never even think that there's something behind it.
Well, there's a sign above it, but
they probably don't even see the sign.
they probably just ignore it. They don't care.
Because the store was pretty scary and dark and grimy inside.
Yeah, if you want to get new people to read comics, have Free Comic Book Day. Sure, it's great. Put the free comics in the fucking grocery store.
Oh, and have good comics.
Yeah. Even these comics would have done okay in the grocery store, better than the comic store.
Well, look, Free Comic Book Day, it happens once a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every publisher puts out one crap little normal comic. Tokyo Pop constantly puts out giant-ass manga full of previews, high quality.
Mm-hmm.
Just free, they give them away everywhere.
Like conventions and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when there were a bunch left over at a con or something, and they gave us a freaking crate of those sneak things. They said, "Oh, just give them away or whatever you want to do with them."
Yep.
Why don't the comic people just pay more and do something good like that?
Tokyo Pop has that free magazine now too.
Oh yeah, Takuhai.
Yeah, that's it. You sign up for it, and they send you what's basically a little magazine every once in a while. I think it's maybe 4 a year. I'm not sure. And it's got a whole bunch of manga in it, and of course a whole bunch of Tokyo Pop ads.
The only reason I didn't sign up for it was that they really aggressively marketed it and pushed it. And the more people market things, the less I am willing to do them, especially since then they'll probably just spam me.
Yeah, it really felt like it was a spam deal. I mean, the thing itself, they had free ones at Otakon. I picked one up, and it seemed like it was an ad, you know. It didn't have a whole bunch of manga in it.
Yeah, I guess I'm just resentful of that sort of thing because I get enough junk mail as it is.
Mm-hmm. So if you're looking to read some comics, don't read these comics. Read the ones that I'll tell you to read later.
I wish we could have gotten the silver whatevers because those...
Yeah, because those... I wanted to read the Scott Pilgrim and the Owly and all the independent comics.
And I'll note that people in our forums have the same sentiment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, someone hook us up with those, and we'll talk about them on the show, and we'll thank you for giving them to us. You know what? I'll give you all the gold comic books I got on the other day. I'll just mail them to you in exchange.
Yeah, I'll send anyone all of these in exchange for the Owly.
Yeah, just the Owly.
Just the Owly. And Owly is a comic meant for nursery school kids, and it's better than these, which are meant for elementary school and middle school kids. What does that say? That's another thing. All these comics are meant for, like, kids. And most comics in the comic book store are not meant for kids. And kids don't really go to the comic book store or read comics these days.
Kids don't read comics. Kids play with their DSs.
Yeah.
And their Wiis. All right, we're done.
Kids play with their Wiis.
And that was Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for our opening theme.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com. If you like our podcasts, you'll love our forums. Make sure you visit them. You can send your email feedback to geeknights@gmail.com. And if you want, you can leave us a voicemail at 206-333-1537.
Geeknights airs every weeknight, Monday through Thursday.
Geeknights is recorded with absolutely no studio and no audience. But unlike those other talk shows, it's actually recorded at night.